Hi everyone, I'm Jim and welcome to Best Anime Series of 2023, Part 4, the last one, the Winter Edition. As usual, I'm going to recommend you some shows that I think are quite nice and you should watch them. Let's start! My new boss is Goofy. Now this one was one of the highlights of this season. I loved the characters here. This show is basically about this dude Momosel, let's check him out. That's him, and he was basically working at some company and his boss was garbage. He was a dick, he would harass him, and now he's working at a new company and his boss is this dude, Shiosaki, and he's very nice. And this show is basically about their relationship, they're best friends and they like each other. And we also have some secondary characters. Like for example, Shirosaki has a cat, Hakuto, and some friends like Kinjo, Aoyama Mitsuo. He's the boss of everyone here, I think. And all of these characters are very wholesome and likable. The animation is very nice as well. I usually don't care about the animation, but here it's done very good. It's a comfort show, so it's nice to watch when you need to eat something. There aren't many sad moments here, but some of them do happen, and I also do enjoy them. Like, this is about life basically. It's funny, it's interesting, all of the characters are likable, so go watch this one. Now this one, Migi and Dali, this is an amazing journey. Like, when I started watching this show, I had no idea what it would be about. The only thing I knew is that we have two characters that look exactly the same, so they are twins, and the show is basically called after their names. So we've got Migi and Dai, and they are basically children without a mother because the mother was killed, and they're trying to find the curse of their mother, and that's the whole show. I don't want to spoil more of it. This is a very surprising show. Like, it has elements of comedy, drama, mystery, adventure, even horror in some parts. It's really good, so you have to watch this one. It's my favorite anime of this season and I did not expect it at all. Like, the animation was great, the sounds, the voice acting, and especially the story. The story is so interesting. Like, you never know what is going to happen next, so just go watch this one. Do not read those descriptions because some of them are wrong or they spoil too much. Just go into this one blindly. I'm sure that you're going to enjoy it. Kamonohashi no Kindan Suri. Now this show is very similar to Sherlock Holmes stuff. I don't want to spoil anything, so if you enjoy mystery and adventures, then this one is for you. We've got this dude who's a police officer. What was his name? Ishiki Totomayo, and he wants to just crack a case. He wants to solve it, and he's got the help of Kamonohashi, who was solving mysteries like murders and stuff like that, but for some reason every time he solves a mystery, the culprit is killed by Ron, so that's why he cannot be a detective, and he also doesn't understand why he's doing that. So that's the main mystery. I hope that this show is going to get a second season because it's interesting and I do enjoy the main characters. Every story that is happening here, like, we've got a different case almost every episode. It's quite intriguing. Go watch it if you want. It has some cool comedic moments, but it's mostly about mysteries and action. So yeah, let's go to the next one. Dark Gathering. Now this one is a wild ride. Like, I did not expect for this show to be so bloody, violent, so full of controversial topics. It's basically about this dude, Keitayo, and his friend Eiko, and then they meet Yayoi Hozuki, and they're going to hunt ghosts. Why? Because Keitaro has a curse on his hand, and I think it's killing him or some shit. I don't remember that part, but what I do know is that this show goes off the rails pretty fast, and I don't want to spoil it for you because the story is just so intriguing. I have no idea where we are going to end up because this is not the only season. We are going to get a second one. I am sure of that, because if we don't, that would be a mistake. This is one of the better animes of 2023 for me. Like, almost every episode had me on the edge of my seat. The animation was great, same with the sound, especially the sound, the voice acting, the story, the characters, everyone is likable, and the stuff that is happening here is wow, just wow. Some of the episodes were even too much for me, like they made me sad, like I cried at one episode, and on the other ones they were funny, so you would laugh. We've got a lot of different vibes in this anime. If you are afraid of ghosts or blood, or you don't like the controversial topics of suicide, rape and stuff like that, then you shouldn't watch this one. If you are okay with all of that, then go and see Dark Gathering. This is a very unique show, like I haven't seen such an anime in a long time. Deko Boko Mayo no Oyako Jijo, the family circumstances of the Irregular witch. This show is hilarious. So it's basically about this witch, what's her name, Viola, and her mother, Alicia. Everyone is mistaking Viola for the mother and Alicia for the daughter, but it's the other way around. And it's basically about their lives and adventures. We've got Fennel, who's in love with Alicia. We've got Lyra, who has a shop with some potions and shit. We've got Alicia's friends, Luna, Gyoiko, and my favorite character, like this one, Phoenix. Phoenix is a thing that Viola summoned, and Phoenix is like, he's so wise, like he's full of knowledge. That character is so much fun. I love this show, it's hilarious. It sadly has some ecchi moments here and there. If you watch my channel, you know that I am not a fan of that stuff, but besides that, this is a hilarious thing. Like, it's a comedy, it's a parody. Some of the episodes reminded me of Gintama, and Gintama is my favorite anime, so that's why I enjoyed this show. And the other episodes sometimes were kinda average, but the most of it was amazing, so go check it out if you like silly humor. And also Phoenix. Phoenix is amazing. I love Phoenix. God bless. That's all I can say. The fans of this show understand what that reference is. That's all from me about this show. It doesn't have a lot of depth, but it's very funny and it gives you a good feeling, so that's all. Boushoku no Berserk. Now this is a show that has a lots of ups and downs. It's basically about this dude, Feito, and he finds a sword that's greed, and he finds out that fate is basically gluttony, and he has to kill humans or monsters to stay alive, so the gluttony doesn't eat him alive. That's the entire point of the show. This is not a spoiler because they say so in the first episode. And basically we've got some other characters which are quite nice. Sadly, most of them are women. I have no idea why. Why do they do that in animes? Like, have some dudes as well. Like, normally you always have some female and male friends and people in between. Like, you always have many friends. And in animes it's so unrealistic to have only one gender as your friends. It annoys the hell out of me. So this show was quite nice. I enjoyed the romantic story that it has. That was my favorite thing about it. Sadly, it's not the main focus here. That's it, it was full of action, mystery. I don't think it's going to get another season, but it was a fun ride. Like, it had some awful episodes, but also some amazing ones. That's it, let's move on to Toayo Osano VRMMO Katsudouki. This show is basically about this dude Daichi. His nickname in the game is Erfo, and he just wants to live a decent life within this game, and he just chooses lots of various skills such as cooking, cleaning, shit like that, and for some reason he always stumbles upon some adventures and they are interesting and so on and so forth. I loved his relationship with the fairy queen. It was a quite funny thing for me. Besides that, it was a good feel show, you know what I mean? It doesn't have a lot of drama or bad things, it's mostly a good feel story. I don't know if it's going to get a second season, it might get one. It was fun. As usual, it wasn't anything special, another show similar to Sword Art Online but more positive. Helck, now this one was special. It's basically about this dude Helck who comes to the demon world or demon continent, and he wants to become a demon king, but then some things start to happening and the show goes off the rails. This story was quite fascinating. I did not expect it to be so mature and just heavy. So Helck is basically like the last human in this world, and it's sad, and we're going to find out why. It has some wholesome vibes for half of the time, and then we get some drama and sad things that are very sad. I very enjoyed most of this show, especially the middle part of it, like the episodes in the middle were the most interesting for me. The first episodes were so-so, and the last ones were okay. I hope that this one is going to get a second season because the story is not finished, and I just want to know how will this end. Hopefully they are not going to make this into a 200 episode series. Just make a second season and end it. I'm giving the Disgraced noble lady I rescued a crash course in Naughtiness. Now this show is actually quite wholesome, which is weird because of the title. It's about this dude Alan Crawford and the woman Charlotte who escaped her household. I think she was a maid there or some shit like that, and she wasn't treated nicely, like she was beaten and stuff like that, and he wants to show her that life can be good and that she can be a little bit selfish and think about herself. That's basically it. It has some comedy vibes, but if I have to be honest, some of the comedy is annoying, especially in the second half of the anime when the other characters get introduced, because as you can guess, the other characters are going to be like, haha, you guys must be in love, and they're going to do lots of shenanigans that are like, yeah, you have to be closer to each other, and I am just not a big fan of this kind of humor because it's just not funny to me. Like, I don't have 12 years old, I'm old, but besides that I did enjoy the relationship of the main characters, so Alan and Charlotte. The rest of the stuff was like so and so. It's a good show, it has some funny lines, it's not like it wasn't funny all the time, it had some funny moments, but yeah, it is just okay. I want to recommend it if you want to watch something wholesome and just not heavy, because it's a feel-good show. Seiken Gakui no Maken Tsukai. Now this is another show that is quite interesting. It's basically about this demon king who gets reincarnated, but the world he sees changed over the years. We've got some machines, monster magics, humanity lives in some weird robot-like, I don't know, helicopters that are so big. It's so weird to watch. Yeah, so we've got Leonis, and he meets Lizelia, or however you pronounce that. This is my favorite character, the dog. Black as shadow. Great dog. I love the dog. Or wolf, but I'm going to call him the dog. The dog is very nice. What's interesting about this show is that it takes itself very seriously, so we've got that main story of this dude basically trying to help humanity. Because why not? He wanted to destroy it, but he sees that humans are quite nice. And after every episode, we have a short where this dog and this woman on the right side, Filet, they have some adventures together, and for me those shorts were so hilarious. I just waited to watch them. Like, the shorts are great. Don't get me wrong, the main anime is also quite nice, but the secondary characters here are very interesting, and I wish I could see more of them. So hopefully this will get a second season. I am not sure. If you enjoy demon stuff, machines, fantasy, fights, action, then you're going to enjoy this one. I don't know why it got such a cover art, because it doesn't represent what the show is about, that's for sure. So let's move on to Dr. Stone New World Part 2. I've already talked about Dr. Stone in the previous episodes. It's basically a show about humanity that was basically petrified or something like that, and after some time Dr. Stone gets released from the petrification and he wants to rebuild civilization, and finally we are at the point where we might know who's behind the petrification. And this season was fine, you know, like, it wasn't the best one. I still feel like the season first was the best thing about this show, but it's ongoing slowly. We're almost at the end. I have no idea how many seasons we're going to get of Dr. Stone. Hopefully only 1 or 2 before it's over. I don't want to spoil this one for you guys, so go watch this if you're interested in science and just cool characters. This show slightly reminds me of One Piece for some reason. I don't know why, it just has that vibe. The only thing I wish it won't become is a giant long slog. I don't want this to have thousands of episodes. I want this to end before 100 episodes. Let's move on to our dating story. Now, as you can guess, this is a romantic anime about this dude Ryoto Kashima and Yuna. They meet in school and they will start dating, and that's basically it. So if you enjoy stuff like that, go watch this. I enjoyed this one because it showed some problems in the relationship that many other animes do not talk about. It's always interesting to see how the characters are going to overcome their obstacles. Another good thing about this show is that it doesn't have a love triangle. I hate those, so it's nice to watch something where we've only got 2 main characters and no one is bothering them, because that stuff always annoys me. Yeah, so go watch this one. It has great animation, okay story, great characters. It's not something that I will remember in 2 or 3 years, but it had some comedic moments, but most of it was focused on the romance and serious stuff. So yeah, that's it. Goblin Slayer II. Now, we've waited a long time for this one. I feel a little bit disappointed by it. To put it shortly, this show is about a dude. I don't think we even know his name. Everyone just calls him Goblin Slayer. he's killing goblins, that's all. We find out more about his background in this season, and he's doing the same thing over and over again, which is killing goblins. Sadly, no green goblin in this season, maybe in the third season. I did enjoy the relationship of the characters here, how they interact with each other. I did not enjoy that little story at the beginning with the boy magician. It's right here. That character was so annoying. I just couldn't believe that the season started with such a weak story at the beginning, but it ended like after second or third episode and I was like, good, let's move on to some serious stuff. I actually have no idea where they are going with this show. Is this even going to get a third season? The only thing that I can tell you is that it was interesting, that's for sure. If you enjoyed the first season, go watch this one, but be prepared that this one isn't on the same level. Like the story, the animation, it's not as good, but it was still a good watch. So yeah, I hope that we're going to get another season and that it's going to be better than this one. The Ancient Magus Bride Season 2 Part 2. I've talked about this show already, I think in the previous episode, and what can I say? It's about this girl, Chisei. I even wrote a song about her, you can find it on my second channel. And well, she's in a magic school and there's something bad happening. I cannot tell you what, but it's interesting and it gets a conclusion which is very nice. We also have lots of secondary characters which I do enjoy a lot. I hope that in this season 3 we are going to see more of those characters and how their relationships change over the years. It was a good season. I did not expect that because part 1 of this season wasn't as interesting to me, but this one delivered. Loved the fights, the animation, the voice acting, how the story concluded, all of that stuff. Cannot wait for another season. Saihate no Paladin second season. I've talked about season 1 I think in this show already. It's about this dude, William, and his company of friends, and they are going to slay a dragon. That's the entire story of second season. I don't want to spoil more, and I must say that this season started quite slow. It wasn't as interesting and emotional at the beginning as first season. That first season was so good, go watch it right now. But I must say that in the middle something changed and this show became amazing again. Like, I loved the last 4 or 6 episodes. So fun, so emotional, great music, story, the characters, so nice. I wonder if this is going to get a third season. Like, what is going to happen next? Like, the story was very interesting, so go watch this one. It's a great show. SpyXFamily second season. I've already talked about season 1 in this YouTube show. Basically, we've got a family of Anya, who's like a psychic, she can read minds. Lloyd Forger, who is like James Bond. His wife, Yor Forger, she's like an assassin. And it's about also the dog. How could I forget about Bond Forger, the most important character in the show? What else can I say? It's about their adventures. I must say that this season isn't as good as the first one, but it still had some amazing episodes. Like, I loved the episode only about Lloyd and the dog, because the dog is actually a very important character, because the dog can understand humans, so it's a very wise dog. I love the dog. The dog is the best character, that's for sure. I am not joking. And yeah, what's going to happen the third season, I have no idea, but I cannot wait for it. I hope that it's going to be better than this season, because most of the jokes here didn't land, at least for me. It just wasn't as good as the first season, but it still had great moments, so go check it out, you're not going to be disappointed. The 100 girlfriends who really love you. This show, well, I did not expect to enjoy it like at all, because it's ecchi, it's harem. Those are two things that I hate a lot. But it's a parody and it's so funny in some moments. Like, I feel like this show is making fun of ecchi and harem because it's so ridiculous. It's basically about this dude. The entire is cursed because he's so sad, like, I cannot get a girlfriend. And then this dude who looks like the bald guy from Dragon Ball, he's a god or some shit, and he says to him, you're going to have 100 soulmates. And the entire is like, you what, mate? I wanted one soulmate. And no, you're going to get 100 soulmates, and you have to be in a relationship with them, because if you're not going to be in a relationship with them, then they are going to die, and you too. So, and I was like forced to love 100 women, and in every episode he meets one of them. It's just so goddamn ridiculous what is happening in this show. On one hand, it's very wholesome because the dude is not pervert at all, and he truly loves those people. But the women are so sick in the head. Some of them, the things that are happening in this show. Like, look at the pictures. I don't want to spoil one thing, but I think it happened in the 9th or 10th episode. Go watch the entire thing, you're not going to believe what is happening there. If you like parodies, then this one is for you, that's for sure. Zom 100, Bucket List of the Dead. Now this is an anime that many people were very into, and then not, because it had a long hiatus, like they wouldn't post episodes for a couple of months. I have no idea why. And it's basically about this dude, Akira Tendo. He worked at some company, and well, the life there was awful. He was like tired and he wanted to die. But then there's a zombie outbreak, and he's like, yeah, I finally can live, like I want to live. And this show, for what it is quite wholesome, because there is a apocalypse happening, like zombies are killing everyone, and he's like, yeah, it's fun, let's go. The music is playing, him and his friend Kenichi are driving somewhere, they're like, it's so much fun, yeah, we are free. I cannot believe what is happening in this show. I don't want to spoil more, but the main characters are great. The story at first doesn't have main goal, but at the end they're going to choose one, so I guess a second season will happen, or maybe not, I am not sure, but it was a fun ride. The animation was great, so was the music, the characters, the voice acting. It's fun, go watch it. I truly enjoyed this one, it was unique for what it was. Under Ninja. This show is so hard to describe because I have no idea what is happening, even this description. After World War II, Allied Command in Japan developed a new agency to help manage terrorism and violence within the Pacific region. The agency was staffed with ninja, and they were initially tasked to handle domestic affairs. Blah blah blah. Basically, it's about this dude, Kuyo Kumoga Kue. He's basically forced to take on a job because he's a ninja, and this show is just so borderline insane because this dude lives at some house, he doesn't pay rent, he doesn't want to do anything, like he's so goddamn lazy. Every character in this show has like two sides of them, like You never know if someone is going to be the enemy or not, and the humor of this show is so weird. Like, there are only 4 tags here: action, seinen. Why is this for women? It's not for women, like, it's for everyone. This show has that sense of humor that truly works for me. Like, it's ridiculous, it's abstract. Like, I don't want to spoil, but some of the things that are happening in this show, okay, I am going to spoil one thing. There is a cat in this anime. That cat is special. You're going to find out why, and when you do, you will be like, what the fuck is going on? That was my thought going through this entire series, and I was like, this is amazing. Like, I haven't watched an anime that would surprise me so much. Like, in every episode we get at least 2 to 4 surprises, and it's getting more ridiculous, but it also makes sense for some reason. Like, this is not a realistic show. Like, it has some stuff that would not happen in real life. You have to watch Under Ninja if you love comedy, action, drama, just weird things. And mostly because the characters, you get attached to them. Like, they're actually quite great. Some people are going to die here. You will never figure out who is going to die. Like, it's also random, so when someone dies you will be sad. So that's just a disclaimer for you. But it's a great show. Anything can happen. Like, they can make season 2, they don't have to make season 2. I will be happy either way. Go watch this one, I'm sure you're going to enjoy it. Dead Mount Deathplay Part 2. Some of the episodes here were amazing, while others were like, okay. For the people who did not watch my previous episodes of Best Animes of 2023, this is basically about this dude, Polka Shinoyama, but it's actually not Polka Shinoyama. It's a necrograd, like necromance god. Like, he basically took over his body and he wants to live a lazy normal life in our world, but sadly he cannot, because all of the time people from different timelines, I guess, and different universes are coming to this earth to wreak havoc, and he cannot get a break. Like, he's like, I want to just be left alone, but he has to fight for his friends. That's the show. That's the show. We've got lots of intrigue here. We don't know who's the main bad guy, or maybe we do. It's hard to tell because of how everything is complicated. It's a good show. I hope that part 3 or part 4 is going to be the last one, because I don't want this to be a long, boring snooze fest. I only need 3-4 seasons and that's it. I want the story to wrap up, to be finished, and to make sense. That's all. So yeah, go watch it if you want, but you have to understand that this is not a finished story. Like, we are probably in the middle of it. Next we've got Akuma-kun 2023 version, because there is also an old school version of this one. This is about this dude, Akuma-kun, who basically exorcises demons from people's bodies and shit. And I must say that this show was truly a surprise for me, because I didn't have any expectations from it. I actually didn't even knew at the time of watching it that it was a sequel to some show from the 80s, as you can see here. And they do reference the first show, but you don't have to watch it to understand what is happening here. I must say that some of the stuff that happened here was very bloody, very controversial topics here and there. One of the episodes at the residence of a very greedy and fat guy was actually quite disgusting and also surprising to me. I think that you should watch this one if you enjoy adventure and also satanic stuff, because there are lots of pentagrams, lots of blood, shit like that, you know, possessions, It's not a kids show, like I thought it would be a kids show, but it is not. And the ending is shocking, like I did not expect it. And I am not sure that they're going to make another season. They could, and it would be interesting. Like, I don't know if I should even recommend this show for you guys, because it has a weird vibe. The main character, like, he doesn't care if evil or good wins. Like, it's so different from the rest of the shows. Go watch this one, I guess you might enjoy it. And the final one, everyone knows Jujutsu Kaisen. This is the second season. This was a big disappointment for me. I still did enjoy watching it, especially the first 10 to 12 episodes. Those were amazing, you know, especially that whole arc about Satoru Gojo and Suguru Geto. We've got some episodes when they were younger, and that whole arc was the best thing about this season. But everything that was happening in the story, you know, later with the main character Itadori Yuji, that wasn't as interesting to me. Some of the fights I felt like they were too long. The first season was great. This one was not on the same level, but it had some of the episodes that were, so that's why I recommend it. This entire show, for people who do not watch it, it's about basically people fighting and killing demons, and there's this big demon or whatever, Sukuna, and he's in Itadori Yuji, and he might come out of his body and destroy humanity, stuff like that. Wow. So yeah, that's all. I wonder what is going to happen in the third season. I do not read mangas because I do not have time for it, so I don't know what is going to happen next. I hope that we are going to get more secondary characters, you know, and their stories. Like, I want to know what happens to Gojo, what happens to Geto, all of that stuff. I loved it. And Itadori is Itadori, he's nice. I guess this might be controversial to you, but the thing I enjoyed the most from Jujutsu Kaisen was that movie called Jujutsu Kaisen 0. That one was amazing, I cried on it, it was beautiful story. And so far, the anime, you know, the seasons have not come up to that level at all. Yet, maybe they will. Who knows what will happen in the next ones. So yeah, go watch this one. If you watched the first season and you loved it, then you have to watch second season. If you don't know Jujutsu Kaisen, then give it a shot if you like action. I don't know if I would call this horror. Like, for example, Dark Gathering, the show I recommended to you a couple of animes ago, is much more violent, more scary. This one just has some blood sometimes. That's why it's horror. Like, that's not scary. When I go to the doctor and they take my blood for some blood tests, it's not a horror for me. It's just another week in my life. So yeah. So I wouldn't put horror tag here just because there are demons and sometimes someone gets killed violently. Like, I can be hit by a truck next month and I might die, and it's not going to be a horror, it's going to be life. That's all. So yeah, those were all the animes this year and this season. Sorry that you had to wait so long for this video, but yeah, it's hard for me to record those because English is not my first language. We are going to see each other soon. I wish you a great day or night, and I will see you in another episode of this show. Bye!